Hello, and thank you so much for joining us on this very special segment of the program ahead of the President's address to the youth tonight. In his traditional pre-Youth Day address to the nation, President Paul Biya will be talking to young people ahead of the celebrations marking the 56th edition of Cameroon's National Day. Accompanied in the studio tonight to discuss about the expectations of young people and equally to talk about events, projects, and event program.
I'm so grateful. It's a pleasure, and I hope what we are going to present today will edify and motivate or inspire more young to bring out the best version of themselves.
Thank you so much for coming. And on my right, I have Mr. Jato Mark Bimi. He is the Executive Director of Muyang Group Limited, which is an e-commerce platform. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, at 8 p.m. tonight, President Paul Biya is going to be talking to young people ahead of celebrations marking the 56th edition of Cameroon's National Day, 11th of February. I'll just to the youth tonight.
It's a pleasure, and it's always a good moment to hear from the head of state, because he's first a father, he's a leader, and it's always interesting to hear from someone who could be a mentor. From today, our expectation we will, because we have been years after years bringing out young people's challenges, problems, and all over. But I think it's time now not to continue enumerating all those problems, but to face them and to bring solution. We need solution. We need elements who will make us to move from the percentage of young people who doesn't have a real job or who are not earning anything, from more young Cameroonians who can produce and who can help the country to move from the state we have now to another great level.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very quickly, we are going to revisit some of the major points. Before coming to you, Mr. Jato, let's revisit some of the major points of President Paul Biya's address to the youth. That was in 2021. I would just want to quote some. President Paul Biya, he lauded the successful organization of the African Nations Championship, which took place in 2021. Certainly, he might be also talking about the African Cup of Nations, we just wrapped up this year. He equally noted called for Cameroonians, especially young people, to be ambassadors of peace. He equally noted that there is a lot of hate speech going on the social media space. We understand with the coming of the internet, everybody has like power over their keyboard, and there has been a lot of hate speech ongoing on the social media space, and the President of the Republic has seen that, and he was calling on young people to shun hate speech. He equally noted that many young Cameroonian are already part of decision making, as many young people have been voted in Parliament and are equally part of the regional council. I would like to turn quickly to you, Mr. Jato. When President Paul Biya talks about young people being ambassadors of peace, how timely was his call? And looking at the situation we have, especially in the northern and southern regions of the country where we are caught, young people are caught in an armed conflict. The known state armed actors, we're talking about separatist fighters, are the youth, and sometimes, or most often, those even also defending the Republican values. I'm talking about the army. There are also young people there. So how timely is it, would you say, was the President's call for young people to be ambassadors of peace?
Okay, once more, thank you. I think when the crisis broke in 2016, I think October 2016, the government, of course, through the President and other governmental institutions, already were putting together a couple of meetings and other things to see that the crisis be resolved. And it is actually true what you say, where both sides, we have the youth actively in the middle of the crisis. So it came in, he spoke about it in 2020, sorry,
okay,
like you said. But I think that there were measures that were already taken before then.
Such as?
I think we had when it started, we had the consortium go up to the northwest.
Okay.
And we had a couple of talks. We even had the national dialogue, which was which took place in Yaoundé some time back. So if he is coming to talk in 2019, I think that the government had already started doing something, and now it is now left not just for us to wait for the government, us as youths, like both parties. I think I was part of a program in 2019 or so where we had media men. We brought together media men. It was a program under FEVRIER Foundation. Okay. Where we brought media men and we brought delegates from the Ministry of Communication, and the topic was to actually talk about the hate speech, like you say. Okay. And a couple of those, I think it came after the Mimimefo case where journalists were like, okay, what should they say, what should they not say? Okay. So that was us as youths trying to, get into the whole picture as well, to also, share it and not just wait for the state or the president. So
I'm going to stay with you, Mr. Jato Mark Bimi, because there is something really pertinent here. Now, when you look at the situation ongoing in the northwest and southwest regions of the country in particular, and Cameroon as a whole, and you look at the levels of jobs, there's a high rate of unemployment in the country, and young people have been complaining about lack of jobs. Would you say that the absence of job is making young people vulnerable into, acts that are not Republican, such as maybe picking up arms against the state?
Well, I think that, to come back to your question, I think there was a newspaper headline recently which really concerned my hometown, Mbu, where I think the divisional officer, came up with a communique where that bikes should not circulate, especially in areas where the separatists are, or those who are fighting for the Amazonia, as it's called. Yeah, there was this communique said it has pushed a lot of youths to be radical and join the separatists. Okay. So it would not be wrong to say that the fact that there is no job is actually pushing youths to pick up arms. Okay. But at the same time, I feel that we as youths should create jobs for ourselves. Okay. I am an entrepreneur. I think Steve as well is an entrepreneur, and we created these jobs for ourselves. It's not like nobody gave us this job. We left school. For my case, I left school after facing soaring unemployment.
I'm sure we are going to have time to talk about your success story as somebody who has been able to create a job for himself and is intent helping others to find jobs. I'm going to turn right back to you, Mr. Steve Success in Gongolo, with this question about jobs. Because when you look at the fact that the president is going to be talking to young people, and I'm sure if you sample the opinion of young people, especially we got the chance to talk to some young people in the central region, and here in the nation's economic capital, most young people are asking for jobs. The question I would like to find out from you, before hearing your stories on how you were able to create a job for yourself and in turn employ others, is why has it become so difficult for young people to find jobs? What do you think is the problem?
The first problem, we used to think that the main problem is the lack of job in Cameroon comes first of all because of our educational system. Okay. Yes, the way and our society, because the way we were brought up make us to think that the only way we can succeed in life is by looking for a job. Okay. Yes, we can also create a job. That's what my friend was just explaining. And I think, is the best way in Cameroon at the moment we are talking. Because we no more have, companies are not building, we are not building companies every year. We are not building company every 6 months. And even those companies we are building, most of them already have a certain number of employers they want. So what we need in Cameroon is to introduce in our education, the fact that we need to build our mindset in an entrepreneurship way of doing.
Okay.
We need to become, every Cameroonian should become an entrepreneur. Even if you are looking for a job, you need to be having one step in the job and the other in entrepreneurship, because that's the best way.
So are you saying that there is a problem with the current curriculum and there is need for revision?
Yes. We have so many schools and even university where they will even tell you that they are they have some courses called entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And after that, the student will still be going to look for jobs. Can you imagine? You people are learning entrepreneurship, but after that, you people are going to look for a job. It's not possible.
Okay.
That's not normal. So we need, I think, from the nursery school, we should try to build a new nation, new young Cameroonians who are going to understand that there's no more job for Cameroonians. We need to tell the truth. There's no more job for Cameroonians. The few ones who are going to get jobs are going to, they are going to be very few, those people who will be having the opportunity, because I don't like the word luck.
Okay, luck.
Yeah, I prefer grace. And grace, you need to provoke that grace.
Okay.
And most of the time, just like myself, the job I got when I was looking for it, the job I got was mostly based on the proposition, the professional proposition I was presenting to those companies. Okay. Yes. So I was already presenting myself like an entrepreneur who can bring something new, who can add a value to the company. And that's why most of the time when I was looking for it, I got a job every time I applied. Yes. So we need to transform
the mindset of the people.
But it starts from school. It starts from nursery school, from primary school, and
we are still looking at last year's address of the head of state to the young people, and this time around we have been talking about jobs, the challenge in getting a job in Cameroon, and what you think is the problem, and you've been proposing some solutions. We are going to talk more about that when we are going to be sharing your success stories. But I want to come back on the aspect of peace and the head of state that called for Cameroonians, or especially young people, to be ambassadors of peace. He equally called on young people to fight against hate speech that is taking over the social media space. Ms. Anjato Magbime, the question I'd like to ask from you is, why do you think there's so much hate speech nowadays?
Well, I think that the very first thing is that the power of the social media.
Okay.
I think you said that when we just started, the power of social media. Like, everybody can sit behind a keyboard, like you say, and mask themselves and say anything. So the fact that you can't really authenticate if this content is coming from this particular person, everybody is so, people just air what they think on social media. So that's the first thing that is actually pushing hate speech a lot.
Okay.
in the country. Yeah.
The fact that people can sit behind their keyboards and be able to write anything, and this hate speech have several repercussions in terms of unity. It has been a big threat to our unity today. But I just want to find out from you, what do you think is the role of the young people in fighting against hate speech? As somebody, there are a lot of young people who are watching us right now across the different regions of Cameroon, and of course equally out of Cameroon. My question to you is, what do you think young people are supposed to do to fight against hate speech?
Okay, I think that...
How can they be successfully ambassadors against hate speech, ambassadors for peace, as the president in his last address advocated for?
Okay, I think that as a citizen of this great nation, like, we all have a voice, So now, it now depends on how you channel that energy to pass on that information you want to disseminate. So, for me, the ideal solution, to combat hate speech, especially for those who are maybe angry with the way things are going, it is as simple as engaging in politics.
Okay.
It is as simple as engaging in politics. Like, we have a lot of young people, most of us, we actually shy away from politics. Like, we feel that politics is for people of a certain age group. That is why you see hate speech is very, very. Mostly the youths are actually champions of hate speech, so they feel like their votes don't count or their voice is not heard. So the only way they can go about it is maybe throwing it out like that. But they forget to know that they are very, very. They have potentials. They have potentials. Like I've come across a couple of youths who are actually doing a lot of great things, are leaders, and they are doing a lot of things in their society, but they don't still believe in themselves that they can take up, leadership positions to go in even for a counselor and, channel what they would put on their status or Facebook as hate speech, and now to channel it the proper way, to the authorities that matter or something. So for me, if we push more youths, or if youths engage in politics, they know that, okay, their voice matters and
their voice count.
Yeah, you will not see a lot of hate speech because they will take that energy which they use, to share all the kind of messages. Then they now channel it to, okay, let's do it the right way. And politics now has to do with bringing the right persons. There is something I would always say: we have to look beyond, or we have to look way out of partisan politics.
Okay.
We really have to go to the inner core of the person. Somebody who was, a bad class prefect will never make a good MP. Somebody who was maybe...
Why do you say so, though? Can you compare the two situations? A secondary school student, and maybe he was, at that time, he was immature, and he had some psychosocial problems. He has now gone to university. He has probably picked up a job. He has seen life and understood life better. Don't you think he can make a good leader?
Okay, let me take back that word never.
Okay.
Yeah, might not.
Okay,
might not.
It's important to make that correction.
Yes, let me take it back. So my point is that we should actually look into what the person has done as a person and to the society first before giving that I was that when I was a kid. So yeah, but now when he comes up to maybe go in for a public figure like that, that is why you see in developed worlds you have debates where you have
the possibility for those who are seeking to go into office to be able to tell the people what they can bring. True. And that debate has helped to push, to make people to decide whom they are going to vote for. That is very common in the United States of America, and even on the African continent. We have seen that in country to talk about the origins of the 11th of February. Let's go back a bit in history. The 11th of February, where the former British Southern Cameroons voted in a UN-organized referendum to join the then La République du Cameroun to form the United States, to form the one united Cameroon. Okay. Now, the question that many people have been asking, which is a question that continues to raise a lot of controversy, is how come all of a sudden it became Youth Day? There are many people who often ask, what in particular did young people do on that day to become Youth Day?
I myself, it's not just young people. I myself, I keep on asking.
But you're a young man.
Yes, I'm a young man. So before coming here, I was trying to do some research on that and as to what happened. But honestly, I didn't get any concrete answer on most of the articles I stumbled on. All I saw was, this was a day that we had a plebiscite and Southern Cameroons joined. But why that day? I really didn't get anything. I'm
just going to turn quickly to Mr. Steve's success in Congolo. Can you make a comment on that? He takes a deep breath.
Yes. He just thought about politics because it's close to politics, and I remember when I was coming up to the studio, my fiancée and my mom was telling me that, avoid politics. Please talk about everything, but avoid politics. You see how we. But
that's not really good for our nation. Yes, he was saying that it's important for young people to get into politics, and if we are at the point where you're coming on a set on a TV program and your mother, I'm sure she's saying that because she loves you very much, and your fiancé saying, please avoid politics. How then do young people get themselves integrated and assume these political roles if you are even afraid to talk about politics?
It just is because we are not really pushing the young one to involve themselves in politics. And even when those young Cameroonians are involved themselves in politics, we know what's happened, what can happen, and it's a general point of view that politics is not really good in our country. But I think we need to change it because and we need to start. I'm always saying it from the basic levels. Those young Cameroonians should understand that politics is what you are eating every day, the games you are playing, the way your family is even growing up is also politics. Because politics can change all. In fact, politics can even change your mindset.
Definitely,
yes. So we need to. In fact, we are
inculcating the young people.
Yes, we are living with politics. In fact, politics is part of our life.
It's quite unfortunate because it is true that recently we have seen some young people elected at the level of the House of Assembly, at the Parliament, and young people getting involved. But when you look at the number, it's still maybe much still
inferior than
exactly, because when you look at when there is the elections, the number of young people, sometimes I tend to feel is something for the old, whereas if you look at the population, the young people, they are there in their numbers, but there's what you call political apathy. They don't really have the interest to go and register and get voted. And this is a program that is dedicated for young people because we are expecting to hear from the head of state. I think this is an opportunity to also encourage young people to get more involved in the political affair of their country. What do you say about that?
Yes. We need to involve. I remember, it's not part of my success story, but I've been in politics since I'm 18. Since I'm 18, I've been joining some, because there are two ways of doing politics. You can be doing politics, being an actor. Yes, and you can also doing politics without being a partisan, without being a member of a political party. Because most of those out there think that politics is always about being a member of a political party. No. You can talk about politics without being a politician. Yes. So there are two different concepts.
But the bottom line is, as young people, we need to get more involved.
We need to get more involved.
In matters that concerns us. I mean, politics of our country, how people are voted, it concerns us day to day because the final decision will impact our lives. And at the end of the day, we may be the one coming up with complaints here and there. We are going to continue with our discussions, but this time around, I want us to look at the theme of this year's Youth Day celebration, the 56th edition of Cameroon's Youth Day. The theme is Youth and Voluntary Participation in the Major Challenges of Cameroon. Mr. Jato, I would just like to turn to you. It's calling for youth to give their voluntary participation in major challenges of Cameroon. What is interesting here is voluntary. It is sometimes very difficult for people to do things for free. How do you look at this theme?
Yeah, that's true. Voluntary meaning, okay, you will not get a paycheck, you don't have anything at return. But I think there is this Nigerian, I think it's a motivational speaker or something. He spoke there was a time he spoke about how Nigerians are perceived out there. So, he was talking about how after being successful as he was, but just the fact that he had that passport from Nigeria, that paints him black already. So he now stopped whatever he was doing to voluntarily come back to nation building. So I think it's the same thing with all of us here. I myself, there was a time when I was traveling to Egypt, I met somebody who there was a queue, I was trying to bypass the queue. He asked me, "Are you Nigerian? Why are you disordered?"
Oh my goodness, that's...
Yeah. So I asked him, "Are Nigerians nuisance or what?" He said, "No, I don't want to be." So it boils down to, if take for instance, let's take the case of Samuel Eto'o. He's very successful and the rest. But now, if he's that successful and comes back to a country that is very, very shattered, he would have nothing to do. That's why you see, I really applaud him for coming to take Fekafu.
Exactly.
He has been a player. He knows the
and he's making a lot of strides.
Exactly. So that is him doing voluntary service to the nation. What can Faker Food really offer him in terms of finance if he doesn't have? So I want us as youths to look at it from that perspective. And I think the same here with Mr. Steve. Another way of going about it is we would always boil down to entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Pushing down to entrepreneurship. Why entrepreneurship? People always take entrepreneurship or confuse it for business at times, you know. But entrepreneurship, like the core value of an entrepreneur, is solving a problem. You know, you solve a problem, then you add value. Let's say probably these guys were doing this thing, it was taking 30 minutes. I'm doing the process for 5 minutes.
Okay.
You've added value by reducing time.
Yes.
And that way, people would appreciate that value by giving you something in exchange, which is cash.
Exactly. I think, Mr. Jato, what you're saying is it's really key, because when you talk about, even when you're looking for a job,
yes,
as a young graduate, I think this is where some of our graduates have failed, because they just want a job as they want to start making money, but they don't know that to be able to get a job, the employer needs to know what you're bringing to his company. And sometimes you have to prove yourself through voluntary service. I've always told my younger ones, like, if you need a job, there is need, if you, rather than sit at home doing nothing, it's better to do voluntary service. And the way you do it, you know, you may have some uniqueness that may make the employer not want to lose you. And at that time, he may want to engage you. And how does he engage you? By signing a contract for you. So I think some of these things are very important for us to understand. So I would like to turn back to you, Mr. Steve. How important is it for young people, in line with the theme of this year's Youth Day, to voluntarily participate in addressing the challenges of the country? Look at whatever area of, be it politics, economy, the social part of the country, the social lifestyle of the country. How important is it for young people to participate voluntarily to solve the problems of the country?
Yeah, it's very important for them, because they are the we are always saying that we have more than 65% of young people in Cameroon. So this country belongs to us, dear young Cameroonians. It's our country. So we are the one to build it as we want, by involving ourselves in any domain, major domain.
Okay. Politics,
sport, education, entrepreneurship. We need to involve ourselves, because we should not remain in a comfort zone and criticizing. There is no job in Cameroon. There is no. We are always talking, criticizing, and complaining. You know, someone who needs success, or who wants success, who is moving in a successful way to achieve something in life, does not complain. Okay. We need to transform our challenges into way of solution. We should bring up solution in our various comfort zone. If you are an employer at the moment we are talking, it may happen that your employer is not really maybe it's not paying you as you want. Maybe the company is not really going, and maybe it's a possibility for you to bring out a solution to make your company to grow up. It may happen that after that, your employer may not change your state or even change your salary, but you will gain.
Exactly.
You will gain. And life is all about moving from one
stage to the other.
One stage to the other. So you need to consider that was just a stage of life. And somebody, that's what happened to me. Okay. Somebody in that same company or outside may look at what you are doing at the moment we are talking.
Exactly.
And we employ you in another company. Or why not? You may move from that to employ other people by involving yourself in entrepreneurship.
Yes.
That's it.
We're going to come back to you, Mr. Steve, to talk about how young people can be gainfully employed, looking at your stories. But I want us to continue talking about the theme, which is youth and voluntary participation in the major challenges of Cameroon. Ms. Anjato, Bimi, I just want to turn back to you to find out from you. I mean, we've been talking so much about jobs. when you look at young people today, apart from unemployment, what do you think are some of the biggest problems of the young people today in Cameroon?
Aside jobs, I think that one of the major challenges young people are facing is the fact that the problems youths are facing these days, it's actually the fact that they don't go to search for information, valuable information that would help them. So the problem we are facing, I will try to put it that we are our problem as youths. We are our problem.
How so, if I may ask?
Because we have the internet, that is a world wide web. It's connected to a couple of things. We have free resources on YouTube. We have everything we want on Google. Whatever we need, we can get it there. But now, we tie ourselves to maybe doing research on some, like social media. Like social media takes a lot of our time.
Yes, there are a lot of people who get up in the morning and the first thing they want to do is they want to turn up to see what messages they have on WhatsApp. On Instagram, Facebook, and stuff like that, which is not really going to put food on their table.
That's very true. So, as I would say that aside jobs, our problem it's the fact that we don't know the value we have existing in this age,
which is still kind of linked to jobs. I mean, everything other thing actually surrounds around this issue of jobs. Yeah, talking about not being able to access the right information.
Yes. So the way to combat that, to solve that problem is to actually make valuable time to see that we do research on what matters. Like take for instance, you studied journalism and mass communication.
I did.
So if the very first thing that will come to your mind is let me come to Canal Day and drop my CV, and all that. But now, what else can you do aside that? We have a lot of platforms like FEVRIER, which is a freelance platform. We even
where
have
you can sell stories.
Where you can even get some,
grants to be able to.
Yes, writing. You can get people to. They give you, articles to write or proofread and stuff. So you can look at that direction.
And I'm sure there are many journalists watching the program tonight, so I'm sure those tips can help them. Exactly. Apart from me who is doing the presentation, there are many of my colleagues, so you can just go on about some of the opportunities. Yeah.
Yes. So aside having some of these platforms like FEVRIER, where you have some of these other you can have some of these jobs that you can do and get paid. You can also, thank God you talked about grants. Like there are a lot of grants out there. You hear literature. I think there was a Cameroonian who just won a prize for literature.
Yes.
Something recently. Yes. Of course, she did not just sit down to say, okay, I would look for a job. She started writing, maybe by writing an article for something and and stuff like that. So we have there is this program now by Tony Elumero. I don't know if you know about it, Tony Elumero Entrepreneurship Program.
Yes, I've heard about it. The business magnet and the Nigerian-born businessman. Exactly. He was even in Cameroon a few days back to congratulate Cameroon for the successful organization of the AFCON. Yeah. Yes.
So those are some of those projects that youths can look at. I actually went out of my way to create a firm just to target some of these problems. Bimis Consulting.
Okay.
It's actually a firm under Moyango, because Moyang is a group which has Moyang Corner, the e-commerce site which you talked about.
Fine. We are going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, we are going to be hearing from you two, your success stories. You were able to brave the odds. You didn't wait for somebody to give you a job, but you actually created jobs, and you are currently employing young Cameroonians. We are going to take you right now to the Northwest Regional Capital, Bamenda, where the people in that part of the country who are living the effects of the ongoing armed conflict equally have some expectations ahead of the head of state address to the nation. The excerpts that you're going to watch right now were compiled for us by our Northwest Regional correspondent Annie Collins. Annie, when we watch those excerpts, we are going to continue with our discussions here in the studio.
To address the youths, and the addressing the youths means it's kind of an age difference that nature means, and addressing the youth as nature means most of us know what we are thinking. We are talking about employment opportunity. To talk about citing about the then AFCON just passed a few hours ago, we can tell and we can know. And talking about opportunities, I believe that the youth are the people who are involved in every sector, because when the youth are not there, nothing goes, because the youth is the working class of every entity. So the youths are like the middle class, people who do everything for the country to move ahead. So I believe that he should be able to address
expectation there from a Northwest based citizen there in the nations in Bamenda, in the Northwest regional capital. We shall be bringing you more expectations from people in the Northwest region of the country. But let's continue back with our discussions. The head of state is going to be addressing young people at 8 p.m. tonight. That's under about 30 minutes. And I would like to say that many young people across Cameroon are expecting the head of state, are expecting some kind of, would I say, miracle from the head of state. They're expecting so many solutions to their problems. But with me in the studio are two young men who didn't just sit and wait from some manner from above. They were able to create their own jobs and are now employers in their own right. On my left, I have Steve Success Ekongolo, that we have been discussing here. He is a projects and events manager and is equally the executive director of In Motion Consulting. Mr. Steve, tell us, what was it like when you started this journey of entrepreneurship?
I will just add on the description you just on that description that I'm also a network marketer leader. Okay. So the journey, that's the main issue that we have with young, not just young Cameroonian, all over the world. We love how they call it in French. It is we like what micro-ondes. We like the effet micro-ondes. That's what we say in French. Effet micro-ondes. That means at the moment you have a food is already prepared, cooked, everything is ready. You can eat it as well, and you just need something to warm it. Okay. And you can at the same time eat. That's what exactly we want. We are not thinking about how to bring up those vegetables, to bring up the cassava, to make the water fufu, to how to bring up the vegetable to make the ero, turn them into the pot, yes, and to make the water fufu. Yes, what we want is a water fufu and ero in our table. It's not possible. It's a journey, and you need to step out from one phase to another, because let's come back to myself, because it's always a bit challenging to talk about yourself.
But I think it's just by sharing your story, there are a lot of young people who are out there who are watching, who will be inspired by what you went through and how you made it to where you are today. So it's important for us to hear your story.
Yes, first of all, I decided to move out from my comfort zone.
And what was that?
I went through like every Cameroonian. I went to school, I got my degrees and everything, and I started looking for a job, like every Cameroonian. But the difference with me is that I knew, because as he was just saying, we are not trying to get information. I got information from internet that if your only source of incomes is a job, your employment, you are a poor. You are preparing yourself to be a poor man.
Poor man.
Yes.
Which means you're supposed to have multiple streams of income.
Exactly. So when I was preparing myself to get a job, I was already involving myself in entrepreneurship, because I knew that only entrepreneurship can help a Cameroonian, or it's not even about Cameroon, all over the world. All those people, if you look at Forbes, you will discover that all the richest people, they are entrepreneurs. Nobody there is an employee. Nobody is an employee.
And I think sometimes it's very difficult. There are a lot of people who have ideas, but starting
to get
this
a job
journey
is easy.
It's
easy.
I would say that if you ask me as an individual, I would say probably if you have some skills, you can be employed
with those
by a company.
skills.
I'm coming to you.
Okay.
You can be employed, okay? But sometimes, I'm saying this because this is a reality.
Yes.
There are a lot of people, believe me or not, who are watching us right now, who have some very great ideas, but they are looking at that crown. They say uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. To be able to stand on their own. There are people who are just comfortable that at the end of the month, I'll just go and collect me my salary. But what if you're the one that has to think about 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 people who are doing a job, and you are the entrepreneur that is maybe providing a certain solution to a certain problem? Somebody might be scared not to want to get into that. But when I speak to entrepreneurs, what they always say is, it might be scary, but when you get there, you start seeing the reward, you would never regret. So let's just continue with your journey.
Since more than 5 years now, we have more than 7,500 young Cameroonians who are ready for a job, then you are qualified for a job. And they are not looking at, they are not being able to get the job. So I don't think it's the best way. So for me, I was in the same situation. So I was qualified and I went to look for a job. And because I had that entrepreneurship mindset, I mostly got the job I applied for. Mostly. Because when I was applying, I was not just saying, like in French they say, j'ai l'honneur. After that j'ai l'honneur, that letter of that application,
I can multitask, I can work under pressure.
Yes, after all that, a very long page like that, I added that I've looked on your company. I'm seeing that this and that. This is what I can bring out of the letter. This is what I can bring. And I will even bring out, it's not all about words. I will bring a real plan
of action
that I will bring up if you give me the opportunity to work with you. And to tell you the truth, there is no employer who can not be flattered to employ you.
Yeah.
Yes. And after that, when I was already working for those CEO and those managers, I was already thinking on how to move and step out. That means I was having one step in the company and one step outside. Yes. And when I got the opportunity, because we also need to learn how to save.
Okay.
Because it's not all about earning. You also need to save.
Yes, and it's equally not about having great ideas. Sometimes you need money to push these ideas.
Yes, you need money. So, and there's not it's not all every Cameroonian has the opportunity to have a fund to start a business. So most of the time,
that's why it's important to save.
Yes.
You're saying nothing is too small. You can start by saving 500 francs, and by the end of the year, you have so much money that you can now invest in your business.
That's why sometimes jobs may be important, or even look in a way to produce funds or produce incomes, and to make sure you are saving. That's what I did.
Okay.
And by my savings, I try to bring up some businesses like poultry and some other, but because of lack of system, those big entrepreneurs, the manager of Canal is succeeding because he has a system. He's not here with us now. His office is closed at the moment. He may be at home, but the company is functioning. Yes, that's the system. That means you put a system who makes you to be free on having a particular task on what. That's what I did. And but the first companies I put on were not having that system, so they fell.
Yeah.
And I became poor.
Yes.
Very poor.
But you did not give up.
I did not give up.
And today you are a project and events manager, and you're the executive director of In Motion Consulting. Tell us more about this consulting firm.
Okay, this consulting firm is all about bringing solutions to some young people challenges.
Okay.
You know, it's not, you may have idea, but you don't know how to bring them out. You may even have funds, you don't know how to invest. So that's what we are really doing. We are not just motivating people or because we have, oh God, we have many coaches out here. Oh, motivational speaker, coach, I'm doing this. They will organize seminars, conferences everywhere. But what they are doing, they are just motivating you. After that, you are ready to go, but you don't know what to do.
You don't know what to do.
You don't know what to do.
Okay, so if I get it right, if you, from the name, In Motion Consulting, you get people in motion. You get that plan in motion. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, so...
And out of that, we are working on bringing out results. Okay. That's the most important.
Okay, let me turn quickly to you, Mr. Jato Magbimi. You are running an e-commerce platform under the Muyang Group Limited. Is that right?
Exactly.
And what is that platform all about? Talk to us about your journey, how you got there.
Okay. I always like talking about my journey, so it might take us slow.
Okay, you're not shy like Mr. Steve. Mr. Steve said he's not very. When he wants to talk about himself, he's sometimes shy. So tell us about your story.
Okay, I think I won't say I found entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship found me.
That line.
Yes. So I left school 2014, University of BIYA, Faculty of Engineering. You know, so. The mindset we had was we are engineers. We would get to Douala, MTN would pick us, Orange would pick us, Canal would pick us. So we used to bluff about that in class when we are talking about those who are studying other courses in the university.
Okay.
But then the reality set in. I got to Douala with the help of my mom. I had to get a little room, put a mattress down. Then my other brother was selling somewhere in the Bokan. So these refurbished markets in Bonaberi.
Yes, yeah. I know.
So I would go to the Bokang, well dressed up, you know. I was just from university, so we still had that vibe.
There some change.
Yeah, exactly.
And the vibe.
Yeah. So I would dress very well. I'll go to the Bokang. While guys are offloading stuff left and right and cleaning gas plates and cleaning fridges, I would, stand around because maybe I left and came to acquire, dropped applications left and right.
And you were looking for that white-collar job.
White-collar job, So when it was time for me to start paying my rent, nobody asked me to go start cleaning those guys' plates.
That's a very interesting story there.
Yeah, nobody asked me to go start uploading. I did it myself.
Okay.
So it is in the course of doing that I stumbled on the opportunities that were in that market. Okay. Which was the fact that refurbished markets have very good content, but now the problem is people to look for it. Like you want to look for a fridge. You have to drive down to Bonaberi, under discussion is on traffic and the rest. Yeah. Move from shop to shop, ask and the rest. You might spend the whole day.
Sometimes you may not even see what you're looking for.
You might not see it. So that's when I started developing my project, Muyang Corner. Okay. Which is an e-commerce platform under the Muyang Group.
Okay. And this Muyang, where is the name coming from? Sorry, permit me to ask.
Yeah, Muyang
What's the inspiration behind that?
Name.
Okay.
It's my mom's name. We connect at a very deep level. And she was very instrumental in my coming to Douala in my entrepreneurial journey. So I thought it wise to, give it to her. And interestingly, there's somebody that asked me when I was for the World Youth Forum in Egypt. They asked me this very question. So when I said, it's my mom. She said, "Well, sorry. When did she pass on?" I was like, "She's alive. She's alive." So he really congratulated me. Like, okay, he has seen a lot of people celebrate their mom or their parents when they are passed on.
It makes no sense. If you have the opportunity to celebrate your loved ones, your mother, your father, you should do that even while they are still alive. Yeah.
So that is how I started Muyang Corner. But now, I had run out of cash. Like the little card I had because I was chasing, the wind, looking for a job. So now it was pretty pretty much very difficult, to put up. It was pretty much very difficult to put up all what was needed, to get a website up, to buy a domain name, host it, then get cameras and the rest. So this was 2018.
Okay.
So it took me, a lot of, so I resorted to competitions. Like I was for Total Startupper, I was top 15 out of 2,000 applicants.
Wow.
But now I didn't get the cash because they were giving just first 3.
Okay.
I've been applying for Tony Romero and a couple of other, just to get the cash.
Just to get the cash to be able to...
Yes, because I didn't have a job like Steve to save before I put it on the rest. So that was it about Moyan Corner. Then a lot of other events happened and I had a program in the US. But unfortunately, as I arrived in the US, I think I have a story on that on YouTube.
Yes.
I was sent back immediately. Like I just arrived Chicago and I was sent back. It's a story for another day.
Yes, definitely, because we are running out of time. Yeah. I'm going to come back to you, because you seem to have had such an interesting journey. Yeah. But I want to take our viewers right now to the nation's capital, Yaoundé, for a report about the expectations of young people in the central region as they await the address of Cameroon's head of state, President Paul Biya. Take a listen to this report done for us by Umul Kusumi, and we shall be right back.
Youths with open ears waiting to listen the traditional message of the President of the Republic this February 10. The expectation quite high.
First of all, we are thanking him for, bringing the AFCON to Cameroon and how the youths were so much into it and participating in to see that the event passed through. And again, with that, we are expecting a lot. We saw how the youths were so involved in it, and we are so convenient that the president is behind the youth, and we expect a lot of promises from him today.
Young Cameroonians cried out loud for the president to seek solutions to the Anglophone crisis ravaging the youth, as well as address the problem of unemployment.
So the head of state should try and do something so that this war should come an end, so that the youth should stop dying. He should equally put on initiatives to encourage private sector enterprises, because the government cannot employ, honestly, but the government has the ability and the capacity to put in place a comfortable environment so that the private sector can employ.
Some insist that the promises tonight should be followed by immediate actions. We expect that the president should respect all his promises. As he said, he will build universities. The situation of the youth should change, because till now youth are still forgotten. We celebrate every year, but promises have never been realized. To others, the presidential speech tonight, expectations are quite low, as they plan to continue their usual hustle and bustle to have their daily bread.
Thank you very much, Umul Kusumi, there for putting together that report. When I listened to that report, there are 3 things that stood out for me, and I'm going to be discussing with my panelists. The first is the promises he makes should be respected, because there is a school of thought that say each year the president comes and makes so many promises, but most of these promises are not respected. With respect to providing solutions for some of the problems young people face. And another person there in the nation's capital equally said the head of state and his government should make the environment for the private sector conducive for business to thrive. And when business thrive, of course, many more young people will be employed. And there's a set of people who just say they are not going to be watching the head of state speech. Come on. What do you think about those reactions?
Well, I think I would start with the second, which is what is going to he might just say that he's going to do, like promises. We were talking about promises. What I would advise, or what I would say that we as youth should do is, when he says it, we act on it. When he says it, when the last time I think there was a speech, he said youths should take up machetes and go to the farm.
And a lot of people took that offensive, and it was funny for me because farmers are some of the richest people.
The rich, yeah, some of the richest.
If you can be able to monitor the value chain, you can be very rich as a farmer.
Exactly. So I think those who took that and acted upon it, they are yielding fruits by now, because the truth is, he's going to say a lot of things, but now
he's probably going to really talk about the recent AFCON that was organized by Cameroon, that has been lauded by several people.
Yes.
I mean, we saw a lot of young people participating, be it the athletes, fan clubs and all of that. That helped to project, of course, the image of the country.
Yes. So it's for us to actually pick out what he's going to say, then act on it.
Okay.
Like, he's not going to actually follow us down to the field to see that, did you do this? I promise.
Or did you not do that?
Yeah.
And Mr. Steve, let me just turn quickly to you. Mr. Steve Success Ekongolo. When you listen to those reactions, what stood out for you?
I think those reactions are very normal. He took the middle, I would take the last.
Okay.
We said he's not really interested and he will not listen to it's very normal on his point of view, and I think it's very normal if you are seeing, he just said, most of the time we are coming out with project with plans, but who are not well executed. The same thing if you are listening to your daddy every day. And at the end, Daddy will tell you, oh, you go to school next year. But after, you are not going to school. What will you do? You will not you will not open eyes and ears again on what he will say. No matter what happened, no matter if Daddy give the money to mommy and mommy did not pay the school fees, you will not listen to Daddy again. So that's what. That's what happened. I think we need. That's why I told you when we started this program that we need solution, but solution who are going to be executed.
Okay.
Because we need to bring out result. A solution without a result is not a solution. Okay.
Very quickly, Mr. Anjato, Mark, Bimi, we are rounding up with the program. What are the biggest lessons you've learned today as an entrepreneur?
Okay, the very first thing I would say is consistency.
Okay.
Like, as an entrepreneur, you have to be consistent. Fall 5 times, get up 6. And when you fall, you try as much as possible to lean with the front part so that you can use your hands and get up.
Okay.
And don't just give up because it's not. I wouldn't say that I am actually succeeding now as an entrepreneur.
But you're getting there.
Yes, gradually, one step after the other. You have to keep on. And
just an opportunity for those who may be willing to contact you. How can people get to you? And just in a resume, what are your services? And how can people who are interested to meet you get to you? Okay, for those who can get to me, I don't know, I can give my number. Go ahead. I think my number 674-815074. 674-815074. And if you were to resume, what you can provide to them, what would you say? Yeah, like I said, Moyan Group, you manage 3 projects. Okay. So I would go with the e-commerce. I think I've talked a lot about e-commerce, which is selling refurbished goods online, not just limited to refurbish. So people can subscribe. Are you on Play Store and stuff like that? Do you have an app or you have a website people can go to? We are trying to update some features on our app, but we are very, very present on social media. Okay, on Facebook, Instagram, Moyan Group. Yes, Moyan Corner. That's the e-commerce. Moyan Corner. Yes. MUYANG Corner on Facebook. Yes. E-commerce platform. Thank you so much for coming. And I'm going to turn to you, Steve Success Ekongolo. I like that your name. It sounds strong, Ekongolo. Those who have been watching and who may have been inspired by your story, what is your take-home message to those who want to venture into entrepreneurship?
There's always hope. Yeah, don't take your situation now will remain like that. You can change your situation, and you are the main actor of your life. It's not of your destiny. It's not your parents. It's not the head of state. It's not those manager of companies. You are the one to define who you want to be in the few years. We had an amazing conference today at the University of Douala, where we discussed with many students, with many young people, and we explained to them that there's always a way to change from the poverty mindset to a wealthy zone. That's what we did, and great to God, we did it, and I think they can also do it. We are organizing many conferences and seminars every Sunday. Is free of charge.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can describe.
Sure, go ahead.
Yes, it's at Vallée des Princes, Bessenguet. At Vallée des Princes, the hotel, Vallée des Princes, Hotel Vallée des Princes.
No publicity intended.
Yes, exactly. It's just the venue I'm giving. It starts at 3 p.m. Is one of those amazing platforms for entrepreneurs. So come there, and I think your mindset will change. And I also said previously that I'm a network marketer. I'm a leader in network marketing, and I'm also a success story in network marketing. So we can come in contact, and you will discover that there are various ways to become wealthy. There are various ways to change your situation, and I'm sure that if in every family we have at least one person who can change his situation, we'll no more have problem. I think we are going to reduce those debates where we are complaining, and we are always complaining. There will be more debates where we'll just share opportunities and share our success stories. So is it possible also for those who want to contact me?
Definitely.
Thank you.
It's a special Youth Day.
Thank you.
Special Youth Day program, and we are celebrating young people who are, braving the odds, and especially in terms of job creation. So there is no harm. So just go ahead.
Thank you. So you can contact me through 651-61-8257. 651-61-8257. Contact me. I'm sure, because with Emotion Consulting, we are not just motivating people. We are working on how to bring the best version
of themselves. Thank you all so much for coming. It was such a very interesting exchange with you people, especially on the eve of Youth Day, where a lot of young people are out there, are confused. But one thing we've learned from this discussion is that if you have an idea, you should look for ways to put it into motion. And of course, you have people here who can help you to do that. And of course, it's equally an opportunity to say that do not just expect from what the head of state is going to say, but probably from what he says, you can decide to pick something good from it and invest in it rather than sit at home. And of course, this program was produced by our intern, Sherifa Sela, and we are going to be signing out on this set. And just to say that at exactly 8 p.m. tonight, that's under about 3 minutes, Cameroon's head of state, President Paul Biya, will be talking to young people across the 10 regions of the country. It's on the eve of the Youth Day celebration, which is going to be taking place in other parts across the 10 regions of the country, celebrating unity in diversity. One last word from you, Mr. Njatomak.
For the youths, let's be go-getters. Let's just go for it. When you think it, you act on it. When you think it, go straight and act on it. Don't actually wait for your idea to be all perfect before you launch.
Yes.
You just start. Yes. The very difficult thing is just start. And like I said, there are a lot of resources online, and there are a lot of people like myself and Steve here, who is running a consulting firm, to help you, bring out, put it in motion, like his company says. So start, get to Steve, you put it in motion, then you bring it to me, I sell. So
that's all.
Well,
and if you are not selling anything, you are a poor man. They should understand that. If you are not selling, especially in this year, in this century, 21st
century. So are you saying I should leave my journalism job and start selling bags?
No. Put one step in Canada, the other step when you are out of Canada, you can sell. You can sell, but make sure you are selling what, because you need to gather, in French they say, volume et la masse.
Okay.
Yes, you need to sell something that many people may buy and will need daily.
Okay. So at the end of the day, you need to be providing solution to a problem, and that's how you can make money.
Exactly. And just to add to what he's saying, selling, like you talked about bags, you can sell your, services.
But of course, there's nothing wrong in selling bags, though.
Of course, there's nothing wrong in selling bags. Yeah, of course. So I was just trying to say that, you don't leave Canal. Okay, you can be an MC.
Yes.
You're selling your services of, talking about events. So that's selling.
She can also be a blogger.
You're good at talking. So
so many things she can do.
We are wrapping up with this special edition of the program ahead of the Head of State's address, which is coming up in a very few minutes. But before we go, just one quick question. I mean, probably if you ask me about expectations, I would say the Head of State might talk about drug abuse, which has become very common among young people today. What do you think is increasing the rate of drug consumption in the country, and how do you think we can fight against this?
Well, I think it's frustration, when it comes to joblessness. A lot of people have various ways to deal with frustration, and others would relapse and go to drugs. I think I know a couple of organizations who are working, I think Hill Pharma, they are working with to reduce the amount of drug.
Thank you so much, and I'm just getting indications from the technicians that we will be taking you live to the nation's capital, Yaoundé, where President Paul Biya is addressing young people on the occasion of the 56th edition of Cameroon's National Day. And just to inform you that right after the program, there's going to be a debate, a discussion that is going to be headed by our editor in Yaoundé, Rodrigue Tonge, with his guests on what the president might have told the youth.
Chers jeunes compatriotes, je m'adresse à vous quelques jours seulement après la clôture de la 33e édition de la Coupe d'Afrique des Nations, Cannes Total Energies Cameroun 2021, que notre pays vient d'abriter du 9 janvier au 6 février 2022. Comme je vous l'avais dit à la même occasion il y a un an, j'ai souhaité que la Cannes Total Energies Cameroun 2021 soit la plus belle de toutes les éditions de la Coupe d'Afrique des Nations organisée sur notre continent. Au bout du compte, grâce à la forte mobilisation et à l'implication de tous les Camerounais, et particulièrement celle de la jeunesse, cette compétition sportive s'est déroulée de manière satisfaisante dans plusieurs villes de notre pays et restera certainement dans les mémoires comme l'une des mieux réussies de l'histoire du football africain. Il y a lieu assurément de s'en féliciter et d'en tirer une légitime fierté. La Cannes Total Energies Cameroun 2021 aura été sans conteste un grand moment de communion pour tous, mais aussi une grande opportunité, une belle vitrine qui a permis à toute l'Afrique et au monde entier d'apprécier les nombreux atouts du Cameroun et singulièrement l'hospitalité légendaire, la vitalité et le dynamisme de son peuple. Ainsi, il a su administrer la preuve de sa capacité à faire face aux grands défis. Cet événement sportif de grande envergure a été, hélas, marqué par la mort de 8 de nos compatriotes et victime d'une bousculade à l'entrée sud du stade d'Olembe. Je tiens ici, une fois de plus, à saluer la mémoire de ces disparus. De même, je souhaite un prompt rétablissement aux personnes blessées, au profit desquelles j'ai instruit une prise en charge intégrale. L'enquête que j'ai prescrite et les mesures qui s'en sont suivies ont permis la réouverture du stade d'Olembe et une meilleure fluidité de la circulation vers ce stade. Je peux donc affirmer qu'au-delà de ce fait malheureux, la Cannes Total Energies Cameroun 2021 a été un franc succès qui honore non seulement le Cameroun, mais aussi toute l'Afrique. Bien évidemment, nous avions une ambition commune, celle de gagner cette Coupe d'Afrique des Nations de football, pour ajouter ainsi un 6e trophée au palmarès de nos lions indomptables. Mais le sort en a décidé autrement. Je peux comprendre la déception de certains, sinon de tous, ce d'autant plus que la CAN était organisée sur notre sol. Mais vous savez aussi que le sport a ses réalités qu'il faut accepter avec dignité et fair play. Qui plus est, les amoureux du football savent mieux que quiconque que l'on peut bien jouer et gagner un match, tout comme on peut bien jouer et le perdre. C'est pourquoi ce que nous devons, je crois, retenir à l'issue de cette grande fête sportive, c'est la belle odyssée de nos lions indomptables qui n'ont à aucun moment démérité. Ils ont su faire preuve de combativité et de persévérance pour occuper une 3e place honorable. Je les en félicite chaleureusement, en même temps que je les exhorte à mieux se préparer pour aborder avec confiance les échéances sportives qui les attendent dans les mois à venir. Mes chers jeunes compatriotes, en dépit d'une crise économique mondiale persistante, aggravée par les effets néfastes de la pandémie à coronavirus qui n'a épargné aucun pays, vos problèmes et aspirations figurent parmi les grandes priorités de ce septennat. À cet égard, notre pays a, au courant de l'année écoulée, poursuivi ses efforts de développement en tirant avantage de la stratégie nationale de développement 2020-2030 et du parachèvement du processus de décentralisation en 3 lignes des grands axes de sa marche résolue vers l'émergence en 2035. Grâce à une bonne maîtrise de notre économie, nous avons continué la mise en place du plan triennal spécial du jeune, qui a permis le financement de 8 430 projets, 119 clusters économiques, 132 villages pionniers de seconde génération, ainsi que la création de près de 22 000 emplois directs. À cela, il convient d'ajouter la construction d'une quarantaine de centres multifonctionnels de promotion des jeunes et la mise en place effective de l'Observatoire national de la jeunesse. Les premières actions de cette instance sur le terrain ont permis la production de 50 000 cartes biométriques pour les jeunes, destinées à faciliter leur accès à plusieurs produits et services sociaux de base à des coûts réduits. Avec la participation de plus en plus manifeste des jeunes de la diaspora à la construction de notre pays, le gouvernement a mis en place un cadre incitatif favorable à leurs initiatives entrepreneuriales à travers le programme d'aide au retour et à l'insertion des jeunes de la diaspora. C'est le lieu de redire que le Cameroun a besoin de tous ses fils, y compris ceux de sa diaspora, qui désirent s'impliquer et s'engager dans la dynamique nationale et républicaine de l'émergence de notre pays. Aussi, le gouvernement entend-il, au cours de cette année, soutenir davantage l'initiative d'appel à projet lancée pour la participation des jeunes de la diaspora au développement de notre pays. Cet ambitieux programme devra, à terme, encourager celles et ceux parmi les jeunes qui souhaitent à revenir investir au Cameroun et à intégrer de façon durable le tissu économique national. Mes chers jeunes compatriotes, toujours en matière d'emploi, d'énormes efforts sont consentis chaque année pour en créer et permettre ainsi aux jeunes d'intégrer le monde du travail. C'est ainsi que, grâce à la politique de promotion de l'emploi des jeunes, inscrite dans le plan d'action prioritaire à l'horizon 2030, il est prévu la création de 600 000 emplois par an, avec l'implication des collectivités territoriales décentralisées. Ces actions vont s'intensifier avec la mise en place du Conseil national de l'emploi, qui est appelé à apporter des solutions nouvelles visant à inverser la courbe du chômage et à améliorer la productivité de nos entreprises. Mais je sais que sur ce plan, le principal handicap a toujours été l'accès des petites et moyennes entreprises aux financements les plus courants. C'est pourquoi le gouvernement envisage à court terme de mobiliser des financements spécifiques nationaux, bilatéraux et multilatéraux pour accompagner la mise en place d'un fonds de garantie en faveur des